Let's get controversial. Forget every best romance list that just repeats the same safe picks. The 1980s gave us love stories that were messy, electric, and sometimes just flat out weird. Want to know which films critics really can't quit decades later? Ever wondered which 80s romances stand the test of time and which ones totally shouldn't work, but absolutely do? Strap in. Some of these love stories will sweep you off your feet, and others will leave you asking, wait, that's on the list? You're about to find out why. When Harry Met Sally, 1989. Here's the ultimate relationship debate. Can two people be friends without falling for each other? When Harry Met Sally didn't just ask the question, it practically made it a requirement for every movie couple that came after. Nora Ephron's script is a masterclass in sharp, honest dialogue, and Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal give us the kind of chemistry you can't fake, even if you tried. Remember that diner scene? Of course you do. It's been parodied, referenced, and awkwardly imitated by nervous couples everywhere. But this isn't just a film about iconic scenes. It's a love letter to New York in all its neurotic, fast-talking, endlessly romantic glory. Harry and Sally's relationship unfolds over the years, through failed dates, messy breakups, and brutally honest conversations. The film doesn't sugarcoat the messiness of adult relationships. Sometimes, the person you're meant to be with is right in front of you, and you're the last to see it. By the time that famous New Year's Eve speech rolls around, you're rooting for them, because you feel like you know them. This isn't a fairy tale. It's real, it's complicated, and it's everything great romance should be. Moonstruck, 1987. If you want a love story that grabs you by the shoulders and gives you a good shake, Moonstruck is it. Cher is pure magic as Loretta Castorini, a widowed Brooklyn bookkeeper with one shoe in tradition and the other in total chaos. When she falls for her fiancé's wild, one-handed brother, played with glorious, unhinged energy by Nicolas Cage, you get a romance that's both utterly bonkers and deeply true to life. This film is a valentine to messy families, second chances, and late-night revelations around the kitchen table. Every character is big, loud, and a little bit lost. The chemistry between Cher and Cage, off the charts, but the real secret weapon here is the script. John Patrick Shanley gives us lines that snap, crackle, and sting, but always lead back to the giant, beating heart at the center of this story. The moon itself becomes a character, lighting up New York with the promise that even the most hopeless lives can change overnight. There's a reason this film won Oscars. Moonstruck isn't just about falling in love, it's about getting hit by it like a runaway bus, whether you're ready or not. The Princess Bride, 1987. Inconceivable? Not at all. The Princess Bride is one of those rare movies that manages to be a romance, a swashbuckling adventure, and a comedy all at once. It's the fairy tale that refuses to take itself too seriously, but somehow ends up meaning everything to everyone who watches it. Robin Wright and Carrie Elwes play Wesley and Buttercup, a couple so iconic you'll find their catchphrases on wedding invitations and t-shirts everywhere. What makes The Princess Bride so special? It's the rare mix of heart and humor. The script, by William Goldman, is loaded with wit. Every scene delivers a new quotable line. The cast is stacked: Mandy Patinkin, Andre the Giant, Wallace Shawn. It's impossible to pick a favorite, but at the core, it's about love that won't quit, even in the face of evil princes, rodents of unusual size, and, yes, death itself. The movie is a sly wink at every fairy tale cliché, but it never winks so hard that it loses its magic. Decades later, no one has topped it. Want a romance that's timeless, hilarious, and oddly moving? As You Wish. Say Anything, 1989. Let's get real. If you haven't seen Lloyd Dobler holding that boombox over his head, have you even experienced movie romance? Say Anything is the film that made John Cusack an icon and gave a whole generation of hopeless romantics a new gold standard. But here's the twist. It's not just about grand gestures and perfect prom nights. Cameron Crowe's debut digs into the messy, awkward, terrifying process of growing up and falling for someone at exactly the wrong or right moment. Ione Skye's Diane Court isn't your typical movie crush. She's brilliant, independent, and a little bit scared of her own future. Lloyd? He's lovable, earnest, and absolutely not the guy her dad wants for her. Their romance isn't smooth, but it's honest. The film is packed with small, painfully real moments, the missed signals, the awkward conversations, the fear of letting your guard down. And just when you think it's all going to fall apart, Crow gives us that legendary boombox scene. It's the cinematic equivalent of shouting your feelings from the rooftops, and somehow, it still works. Say Anything doesn't just capture teen love, it nails the universal longing to be seen and accepted, flaws and all. Out of Africa, 1985. Sometimes the greatest love stories are born out of wild landscapes and impossible odds. Out of Africa is romance on an epic scale, a sweeping, sun-drenched drama that takes you from the drawing rooms of Denmark to the golden savannas of Kenya. Meryl Streep is luminous as Karen Blixen, a writer determined to carve out a life for herself. And Robert Redford is the free-spirited Dennis Finch Hatton, the kind of man who'd rather lose everything than be tamed. This isn't your typical Hollywood fairy tale. The romance here is mature, complicated, and shadowed by the realities of ambition, loss, and the looming end of colonial Africa. Director Sidney Pollack crafts every frame like a painting, letting the scenery soak into the bones of the story. The chemistry between Streep and Redford simmers slowly. There are no big declarations, just quiet moments that build into something unforgettable. The film asks big questions. Can love survive independence? What do we sacrifice for the people we adore? It's bittersweet, beautiful, and as haunting as that unforgettable John Barry score. Out of Africa proves that sometimes real love means letting go. Broadcast News, 1987. Forget every rom-com where the girl just has to choose between two dreamboats. Broadcast News is sharper, wittier, and refuses to play by the rules. This is the love triangle for grown-ups, set in a TV newsroom so packed with tension you can almost hear the clock ticking in every scene. Holly Hunter plays Jane Craig, a news producer with nerves of steel and zero tolerance for nonsense, except, maybe, when it comes to matters of the heart. She's stuck between two wildly different men, William Hurt's Tom, a handsome anchor who's all charm and little substance, and Albert Brooks' Aaron, the brilliant but socially awkward reporter who's been hopelessly in love with her forever. Every conversation in this movie crackles with real-life anxiety and yearning. Nobody says exactly what they mean, but their faces tell you everything. There's no sweep her off her feet moment. Instead, it's about late nights in the office, awkward confessions, and the impossible pressure of trying to have it all. What makes Broadcast News a classic is how real it feels. Every romantic moment is tangled up with work, ambition, and the need to stay true to yourself. The ending? It doesn't tie everything up with a bow, but that's exactly why it sticks with you. Sometimes, loving someone means letting them go, even when it hurts. Romancing the Stone, 1984. Take a romance novelist, drop her in the Colombian jungle, throw in a wild mercenary, and watch the sparks and bullets fly. Romancing the Stone is pure 80s escapism, but it's got something most adventure flicks can only dream of: sizzling, reluctant chemistry. Kathleen Turner is Joan Wilder, a city-dwelling writer who's suddenly thrust into a real-life version of her own stories. Michael Douglas is Jack Colton, the scruffy hero who'd rather hunt for treasure than get tangled up in anyone's love story. This isn't just a love story, it's a battle of wits, survival, and stubborn pride. Joan and Jack don't fall in love so much as crash into it, one mudslide, gunfight, and jungle river at a time. The banter? Off the charts. The danger? Real enough to make you sweat. And through it all, you can't help but root for these two oddballs to drop their defenses and just admit how much they need each other. Romancing the Stone is the kind of movie that makes you believe adventure and romance belong together, and that sometimes the wildest journey leads straight to your heart. An Officer and a Gentleman, 1982. Cue the soaring music and steel yourself. This one's a gut punch in the best possible way. An Officer and a Gentleman is as much about grit and growth as it is about falling in love. Richard Gere's Zach Mayo is a loner with a chip on his shoulder, determined to survive the brutal training at Navy Officer Candidate School. Deborah Winger's Paula Pokrivki is the small-town factory worker with dreams bigger than her circumstances. What makes their romance so electric is how hard they have to fight for it. not just against disapproving parents or jealous rivals, but against their own fears and insecurities. The film dives deep into the pain of breaking cycles and becoming the person you want to be. Louis Gossett Jr. nearly steals the movie as the hard-as-nails drill sergeant, but it's Gere and Winger who give it its heart. That final scene, when Zack sweeps Paula off her feet, literally, is one of the most iconic moments in 80s cinema. If you don't get chills, check your pulse. An Officer and a Gentleman proves that real love isn't just about the happy ending, it's about the climb. Some Kind of Wonderful 1987. Let's talk about underdogs. Some Kind of Wonderful might not be the first John Hughes film you think of, but it's easily one of the most honest and quietly radical romances of the decade. Eric Stoltz plays Keith, a working-class kid with big dreams and even bigger doubts. Leah Thompson's Amanda Jones is the it girl, with troubles she can't hide, and Mary Stuart Masterson's Watts is the tough, drum-playing best friend hiding a heart of gold. Unlike most teen movies of its era, this one refuses to go the obvious route. The characters aren't cardboard cutouts, they're wounded, confused, and struggling to figure out who they want to be. The romance simmers, often unspoken, and the stakes feel huge because the emotions are real. Watch Watts teach Keith how to kiss. It's awkward, charged, and unforgettable. The payoff? Not just about getting the girl, but about recognizing who's been standing by you all along. Some Kind of Wonderful celebrates the courage it takes to break free from expectations and risk everything for love that doesn't look picture-perfect on the surface, but is absolutely real underneath. Dirty Dancing, 1987. Nobody puts Dirty Dancing in the corner, not on this list, and definitely not in pop culture. This movie isn't just a summer romance, it's a revolution wrapped in a jukebox soundtrack. Jennifer Grey's Baby Houseman is the ultimate good girl, on vacation with her family and expecting nothing more thrilling than bingo night. Enter Patrick Swayze's Johnny Castle, the dance instructor with the moves, the secrets, and the kind of stare that could melt steel. Their chemistry practically sets the screen on fire, but what makes this romance unforgettable is the way it's tied up with coming of age, class struggles, and the courage to stand up for what's right. Every dance sequence is charged with hope and longing, from the first clumsy steps in the staff quarters to the triumphant lift in the final number. Dirty Dancing is more than just a guilty pleasure. It's a movie about finding your own rhythm, pushing back against limits, and realizing you're braver than you think. That final dance, it isn't just for Baby, it's for anyone who's ever wanted to break free, fall hard, and leave their mark on the world. Tootsie, 1982. How far would you go for love and a job? Tootsie turns that question inside out and gives it a fresh, hilarious spin. Dustin Hoffman's Michael Dorsey is a struggling actor whose reputation for being difficult has left him blacklisted. His solution? Reinvent himself as Dorothy Michaels, a no-nonsense Southern woman, and land a plum role on a soap opera. The catch? He never expects to fall for his castmate, played with luminous wit by Jessica Lange. Tootsie isn't just about disguises and mistaken identity. It's about empathy, self-discovery, and what happens when you're forced to see the world and the person you love through someone else's eyes. Michael's journey is chaotic and laugh-out-loud funny, but it's also unexpectedly touching. The romance simmers beneath the comedic mayhem, with real vulnerability peeking through the absurd situations. By the time Michael finally confesses, "I was a better man with you as a woman than I ever was with a woman as a man," you can feel every layer of heartbreak, hope, and genuine connection. Tootsie isn't just a clever comedy, it's a reminder that sometimes love changes you in ways you never saw coming. Working Girl, 1988. Every Cinderella story needs a twist, and Working Girl delivers it with a high-powered, big-haired punch. Melanie Griffith's Tess McGill is stuck at the bottom of the corporate ladder, smart, driven, and underestimated by just about everyone. Her boss, played with icy perfection by Sigourney Weaver, steals her ideas and tries to keep her in her place. When an accident takes the boss out of commission, Tess seizes her chance and goes undercover in her own office, determined to prove she's got what it takes. But here's where the romance comes in. Enter Harrison Ford, the sharp yet secretly charming executive who's as ambitious as Tess, but way less cutthroat. Their slow-burn attraction plays out across office politics, mistaken identities, and more than a few power moves. The movie sparkles with witty banter and real stakes. Tess isn't just after a job or a boyfriend, she's fighting for respect, a seat at the table, and a partner who truly sees her. Working Girl is a triumphant blend of career ambition and romance, all set against a backdrop of 80s Manhattan and that unforgettable Carly Simon anthem, Let the River Run, indeed. Bull Durham, 1988. Bull Durham is what happens when baseball, love, and sheer unpredictability collide. This isn't your run-of-the-mill sports movie. It's a spicy, grown-up romantic triangle with some of the sharpest writing of the decade. Susan Sarandon is Annie Savoy, a spiritual, seductive baseball groupie who chooses a new player to mentor each season. This year's rookies: Kevin Costner's Crash Davis, the wise, weary catcher with a heart full of regrets, and Tim Robbins' Nuke LaLoosh, the wildly talented pitcher who's as clueless about love as he is about baseball strategy. The dynamic is messy, funny, and deeply human. Annie isn't just a prize to be won, she's the one making the rules. The romance sizzles, but it's also filled with wit and self-awareness. The dialogue is razor-sharp, and the chemistry is off the charts. But what makes Bull Durham a classic isn't just the steamy moments or baseball metaphors. It's the way the film explores second chances, the fear of growing old, and the magic of falling in love with the game and each other all over again. It's the rare romance that's as wise as it is wild. The Big Chill, 1983. Here's a film that understands romance isn't always about fireworks. Sometimes it's about old flames, regrets, and the stubborn hope that it's not too late for a new start. The Big Chill drops a group of college friends into a single weekend together, years after they've drifted apart. The death of one friend brings them all home, and as the Motown soundtrack plays, the group tries to make sense of their lives, loves, and missed connections. The romance here is complicated and tangled, exes reuniting, unresolved feelings bubbling up, and honest conversations that cut deeper than any grand gesture ever could. Glenn Close, Kevin Kline, William Hurt, and the rest of the ensemble cast play these moments with warmth, humor, and a bittersweet touch that feels painfully true. The film doesn't give easy answers or picture-perfect endings. Instead, it lingers in the realness of love's mess, how it can haunt us, heal us, or catch us off guard when we least expect it. The Big Chill is a reminder that some romances never quite fade, no matter how many years have passed. Splash, 1984. What happens when the love of your life has a secret that's, well, not exactly human? Splash takes that question and dives headfirst into pure, joyous fantasy. Tom Hanks is Alan Bauer, a regular guy convinced he's missed his shot at real love, until he literally falls for a mysterious woman who saves him from drowning. Daryl Hannah is Madison, the beautiful stranger with an otherworldly secret. She's a mermaid, walking on land for the very first time. Their romance is all about discovering each other's worlds, Alan teaching Madison about pizza, TV, and heartbreak, and Madison teaching Alan how to believe in the impossible. The film is goofy, sweet, and just the right amount of wild, with Eugene Levy and John Candy providing unforgettable comic relief. But what makes Splash endure is its big, beating heart, the longing to find someone who accepts you, scales and all. The chemistry is real, the laughs are genuine, and the ending? Just enough fairy tale to make you wish you could believe in magic, even if only for a little while. Splash is proof that sometimes love really is stranger than fiction. Cousins, 1989. If you think your family get-togethers are awkward, wait till you meet the crew in Cousins. This underrated gem flips the classic romance script by throwing two almost strangers together at a family wedding, then watching sparks fly as their lives unravel in the messiest, most charming ways. Ted Danson and Isabella Rossellini bring a warmth and vulnerability to their roles that makes you believe in the slow burn. Even as their marriages collapse and everyone's trying to mind their own business and failing spectacularly. What sets Cousins apart is its refusal to play the affair for easy laughs or scandal. Instead, it's all about second chances and honest conversation, set against a backdrop of truly memorable family chaos. The supporting cast is a riot, the romantic tension is delicious, and the final scenes prove you don't have to be perfect, or even particularly wise, to deserve a new shot at love. By the time the credits roll, you'll be rooting for every odd couple at your next family reunion. Cousins isn't just a romance, it's a reminder that sometimes happiness shows up in the least expected places, often with your relatives watching. The Purple Rose of Cairo, 1985. What happens when your dream guy literally steps out of the screen? The Purple Rose of Cairo isn't just a romance, it's a love letter to everyone who's ever wished the movies could be real. Set during the Great Depression, Mia Farrow plays Cecilia, a gentle soul whose only escape is the movie theater, until Jeff Daniels' matinee idol walks off the screen and into her real life. This film blurs the line between fantasy and reality with effortless charm. The romance is sweet, but it's also bittersweet. Cecilia has to choose between the safe, predictable love she knows and the impossible hope she feels for her celluloid hero. The film's bittersweet ending leaves a lasting impression, asking what it really means to be swept off your feet and what you're willing to risk for a taste of magic. The Purple Rose of Cairo is whimsical, inventive, and just the right amount of heartbreaking, perfect for anyone who's ever wished their own story could be just a little bit more cinematic. Overboard, 1987. Romance doesn't get much weirder or more addictive than Overboard. Goldie Hawn is Joanna, a spoiled socialite who loses her memory and winds up living as the wife of Kurt Russell's struggling carpenter. The setup? Completely bonkers. The chemistry? Off the charts. There's something irresistible about watching these two play off each other as Joanna goes from demanding yacht life to scrubbing floors and wrangling unruly kids. Yes, the premise is outrageous, but that's part of the charm. The film leans all the way into its 1980s logic, bad decisions, big laughs, and heartfelt moments when you least expect them. As Joanna discovers her better self, the romance grows, fueled by banter, slapstick, and more than a little wish fulfillment. By the time the truth comes out, you're cheering for them, flaws and all. Overboard is proof that even the craziest setups can make movie magic, as long as there's a spark at the center. Mystic Pizza, 1988. Slice-of-life romance never tasted so good. Mystic Pizza is a coming-of-age love story baked fresh in a small Connecticut town where three best friends, played by Julia Roberts, Annabeth Gish, and Lily Taylor, navigate life, heartbreak, and dreams bigger than their hometown. Romance is everywhere, but so is disappointment, jealousy, and the kind of life lessons you only get by leaping before you look. What makes Mystic Pizza a classic isn't just the youthful energy or the irresistible 1980s setting, it's the messy, authentic heart at its core. The friendships are as important as the romances, and each girl faces a different challenge: class differences, unplanned futures, forbidden crushes. The chemistry between the cast is electric, and the film nails that feeling of being on the edge of something bigger. Mystic Pizza doesn't promise a fairy tale ending, but it does deliver real love, in all its complicated, hopeful glory. It's a slice of nostalgia that never gets old. The Sure Thing, 1985. Take one road trip, two total opposites, and every possible travel disaster, and you get The Sure Thing, a film that proves sometimes love starts with loathing. John Cusack is Walter, a fast-talking college guy desperate to meet his sure thing in California. Daphne Zuniga is Allison, his tightly wound classmate stuck sharing the ride. Sparks? Not at first, but as their journey descends into chaos, missed rides, bad motels, rainstorms, the bickering slowly gives way to grudging respect and genuine affection. What makes The Sure Thing a standout isn't just the witty dialogue or perfect comedic timing, it's the way it flips expectations. The chase for a guaranteed hookup turns into something deeper, messier, and much more satisfying. Cusack and Zuniga's chemistry is delightfully awkward, and the film's message is clear. Sometimes, what you want isn't what you need, and the best journeys are the ones you never planned. The Sure Thing is equal parts hilarious and heartfelt, capturing that wild, unpredictable rush of first love. Roxanne 1987. If you're tired of the same old love triangle, Roxanne will wake you right up. Steve Martin takes the legendary Cyrano de Bergerac story and reinvents it for a small-town fire chief with a nose for both poetry and, well, jokes about his own nose. Martin's C.D. Bales is smart, sensitive, and hilariously self-deprecating, exactly the kind of hero who wins hearts with wit instead of looks. Enter Daryl Hannah as Roxanne, the beautiful astronomer who has everyone in town swooning, including C.D. and the less-than-eloquent fireman Chris. This movie's got a sharp, silly sense of humor, but it's never just about laughs. Every moment is laced with longing and honesty as C.D. helps Chris win Roxanne's affection using his own words and soul. The twist: Roxanne wants the real thing, not just pretty words. It's a rom-com that's as warm as it is clever, showing that real love sees past the surface, even if the surface has a legendary nose. Roxanne is proof that a little poetry, a lot of laughter, and true self-acceptance can create movie magic. A Room with a View 1985. Step aside modern rom-coms, sometimes romance needs a little old-world charm. A Room with a View is a lush, sun-drenched journey through Edwardian England and the irresistible chaos of Florence. Helena Bonham Carter is Lucy Honeychurch, a young woman stuck between the stifling expectations of her proper English family and the wild, open-hearted George Emerson, played by Julian Sands. The film is a masterclass in longing and restraint, full of stolen glances, awkward encounters, and the kind of tension you can cut with a butter knife. Every frame glows with period detail, but the emotions are universal. The fear of choosing the wrong path, the thrill of rebellion, and the magnetic pull of real connection. A Room with a View is more than a travelogue. It's a love story for anyone who's ever been afraid to listen to their heart. It's smart, gorgeous, and, just like a real Italian summer, utterly unforgettable. Somewhere in Time, 1980. Ready for a love story that literally breaks the laws of physics? Somewhere in Time is the ultimate time travel romance, drenched in longing and old-school movie magic. Christopher Reeve is Richard, a playwright obsessed with a portrait of a woman from 1912. Through sheer force of will and a little hypnotic suggestion, he travels back in time to meet her. Jane Seymour plays Elise, the luminous actress who becomes his destiny. The romance is achingly pure, built on hope, dreams, and a belief that love can bridge any gap. The pace is slow, the music sweeping, and the emotional payoff huge. Sure, the plot bends logic until it almost snaps, but who cares? Somewhere in Time is all about surrendering to the fantasy, letting yourself be swept away, and believing that some connections are too powerful to be broken by anything, even time itself. Bring tissues. This one will stick with you long after the credits roll. The Last American Virgin, 1982. Don't let the goofy title fool you. The Last American Virgin starts as a raucous teen comedy, then pulls a twist that knocks the wind out of you. The setup is classic 80s, three high school friends chasing romance, wild parties, and anything but innocent adventures. But under the surface, this is a surprisingly raw and honest look at unrequited love and growing up. Lawrence Monason stars as Gary, the shy, good-hearted kid hopelessly in love with Karen, played by Diane Franklin. The story veers from outrageous comedy to moments of genuine vulnerability, as Gary gives everything for a girl who can't see what's right in front of her. The film doesn't sugarcoat heartbreak, and its legendary ending is as gut-punching as any art-house drama. The Last American Virgin stands out because it refuses to play by the rules. Sometimes love is messy, unrequited, and unforgettable. You'll laugh, you'll cringe, and you'll never forget how it ends. And that's the magic of 80s romance. Bold, weird, unforgettable, and still stealing hearts decades later. Which love story made your list? Did we leave out your favorite? Tell us in the comments. Hit like, share, and subscribe for more deep dive movie countdowns. Because when it comes to great movie love, the conversation is never really over.